Good evening, friends. Thanks for your valuable comments on my videos on Twitter, Koo, and Twitter. I make sure I read all of them and post them on social media. Today, we will chat with Advocate Virendra Ichal Karanjika of Hindu Vidinya Parishad. I hope I've pronounced it right,
That's
Virendra
no,
ji.
no problem. I'll pronounce it for you. My name is
Yes,
Virendra Ichal Karanjikar. That's a
yes,
bit of big surname because in
yes,
Maharashtra there is a practice that the surname comes from the place or the town or the village. So
yeah,
you may have heard Sachin Tendulkar or
yes,
Sunil Gavaskar. So
yeah,
all these are from the
yeah,
village names. And the
yeah.
institute which I am representing is Hindu
Uh-huh.
Vidhidnya Parishad.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Maybe,
Vididnya goes
yeah,
for the one who has knowledge of law, that's
yeah,
advocates. We are
yeah,
advocates actually,
yeah.
that way.
So welcome, Virendra ji. We're really nice to have you to discuss where our temple funds are actually going. So it's really something that our viewers would look forward to, knowing what is actually happening behind the scenes. So welcome.
Actually, you see,
Yeah.
you
So
see
before
the
we speak, Virendra ji, let me just give a few examples to our viewers,
yes,
and then you can take it on from there.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
What really happens to the money you contribute in a hundi, in a temple, viewers, that's something very interesting because many of us don't know where it goes. In an interesting article written by Guru Prasad, he speaks of a woman called Suma. Suma is a 75-year-old woman residing in a village at the outskirts of Mysore in the state of Karnataka. With a religious bent of mind, she wakes up early in the morning and after her bath, draws rangoli in front of her house and spends 15 minutes in the puja room reciting prayers, reading slokas, and finally a Mangala Radhi in which she offers rupees 5 as token offerings from her savings and places this into a jar at the corner of her puja room. She does this religiously 365 days in a year. And by the end of the year, she has 1,825 rupees in the jar, which is basically her own savings. At the beginning of the next year, she donates this entire money into a temple hundi in her village, assuming that it would help in sustaining the temple and hence her faith. I'm sure that most of us are able to correlate with Suma to devotees among our friends and family as well. There are millions there are millions of such sumas all over India who painstakingly save money and contribute a part of it to temples as part of their belief and as charity. Although such sumas know what the donation does not actually go to heaven, they have enough common sense to know that it might at least help in maintaining the temple and other charitable activities undertaken by the temples, along with providing a means of livelihood to the temple priests. However, what she is not aware of is the demon called secularism, which has torn the system into tatters, defying all logic and turning the future of these temples bleak. Without her knowledge, she is indirectly funding madrasas and Christian missionaries. This might sound like an absurd statement, but it is indeed true. So, what does our constitution say? The makers of our constitution say, uh, one second, say the makers of our constitution were visionaries who strove
Then
hard for equality and religious freedom, and the same is reflected in Article 26 of Constitution of India, which promises freedom to establish religious and charitable institutions and manage their own affairs in a matter of religion, which implies no interference from government. So then, why temples are already under government control and treasury has always been used to serve everyone except Hindus? Yes. So this is a brief introduction of the common woman or man who thinks that the money goes to the right place, Vinendraji. So if you could just comment on this and let us know.
yes, is there are three kinds of devotees, I would rather say. One kind of devotee is he goes, he prays, and his praying is only for his some family welfare, somebody's marriage is to be taken place, something like that. And these kind of Hindus normally do not bother about what happens with the money so donated as a part of the prayer made or something. But there are many people who are really interested to know what happens, how the temple runs, and all those things. So basically, if we look at this whole scenario as a nation, there are many states in our India, including Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and the list is it's not a time to take all the list. Our readers and the viewers can find out their own state and find. But these states prominently have all the temples in the state under government control. For example, Maharashtra has a different legal situation where the Sai Baba Shirdi temple or Siddhivinayak temple at Mumbai, famous for Amitabh Bachchan going in the morning and all those things, or Tuljapur Mandir, or the Vitthal Mandir of Pandharpur, which has
Yeah.
quite a large amount of devotees coming from Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. So these temples, Maharashtra is under direct government control.
Mm.
There is another category where there is no direct government control, but the members are appointed by the government. Like at some places, it's the local MLA, it's a body appointed by the Law and Justice Department and such other things. Now, what happens is once you put the money inside the donation box, there is a series of judgments by the High Courts and Supreme Courts which says that a temple is a religious affair, but Supreme Court has wisely, unwisely have differentiated, saying that what happens in the sanctum sanctorium, the rituals, the prayers, the shlokas, the mantras are the only essential religious activities, and what happens to the donation box is a secular activity. So that secular activity can be controlled by the states.
Yeah.
The Kashi Vishwanath temple was taken over and that was challenged. It went up to Supreme Court, and in those defending the central governments and the
Yeah.
state governments, Supreme Court has unnecessarily, I will say, with due respect to the Supreme Court, has poked into its nose into those things. And there are certain other things. If you permit me to tell, I will
Please
take
go
it
ahead.
on the
Please go ahead.
and the
Please go
other
ahead.
part.
Yeah.
But since Supreme Court has differentiated between these two things, now what is happening? The money, the person who comes with the money, like you rightly said, she has been saving it for the whole year, and that is out of devotion, that is out of religious thing. But the moment she drops it into the donation box, it becomes secular. And once it becomes secular, it
Yeah.
goes to such places, some places that the list is never ending. I will just give you a few examples how it goes, and I will give some examples from Maharashtra and Karnataka mostly where I am working. But I am sure the viewers here may be knowing 10 other in such incidences better than me. I am sure because it's
Yeah.
happening. It's not
Yeah.
something new.
See, yeah.
Maharashtra,
Yeah, Virendraji,
yes,
before you continue, I'll just tell you a few things in what's happening in Kerala. In Kerala,
yes,
see, Guruvayur
yes,
temple and Sabrimala temple are the most important temples for Keralites. Okay,
yes,
and all the money is put into these two temples. Now, the communist government under Pinarayi has taken a lot of money from Guruvayur temple and used it, he says, for COVID. Now, how
yes,
can I trust a government that was involved in a gold smuggling case to tell me the truth?
yes,
Right?
yes,
So now
yes,
the princess of earlier Travancore Palace, Lakshmi Bai, she says that now they are going to focus on Padmanabha Kshetra. Okay,
yes,
and they are going to take the
yes,
funds and use this. And where does it go? It either goes to madrasas or it goes to Christian missionaries. And then another thing also I wanted to ask you is that, see, according to some sources, most of the temples in South India are under the control of state governments. In Andhra Pradesh,
yes,
the
yes,
state government has taken control of about 34,000 temples. The famous
yes,
Tirupati Balaji temple got rupees 3,500 crore as donation, but only 7% is
yes,
spent on its management. Many of the
yes,
artifacts were found being sold in the UK market.
yes,
So this is all atrocities being done against Hindus.
yes. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and the list is endless. It will just go on in Maharashtra. This Sai Shirdi Baba temple. You see, in the district where this temple is situated, what happens is it's around 2015, and there is a long delayed project, a dam project, and some 40-30 years, and all of a sudden, Sai Baba temple gives 500 crores for the construction of that dam. The government officers raise the objection that since the act by which the temple is taken control of does not permit such payment of 500 crores, first, there are not enough funds. 500 crores is not a small amount. They say, no, no, we should not give it. But the chief minister signs it and says, no, no, we need to give it. The reasons, then we come to know the reasons that it is in the area where the then leader of opposition had some political interest in upcoming elections, and therefore this amount was to be transferred. We held a press conference. We said, boss, see, your party funds, the balance sheets of your parties, let it be Congress, BJP, all those things, it has 1,000 crores, 1,200 crores in your balance sheet. So you pay those funds first, then let us talk about the temple funds. Then they said, no, no, we will give it as an interest-free loans to be repaid in 10 years. But I know these 10 years will be 100 years or so. This is one. Siddhivinayak Temple, Mumbai. You see, 25,000 it gives for medical aid. And in the list, if you go through one by one of the persons who get the benefit of from the temple, there are hundreds of names which are either Muslims or which are either Christians. Now the question is, we need to ask such kind of questions. The questions is, you might have seen that ISKCON goes with the Akshay Patra Yojana. It's a grand scheme which goes to the children, giving the midday meals. Then some Muslim clerics said, no, no, we should not accept that ISKCON midday meal because they serve it to Lord Krishna first and then they give it as a prasad. So they won't take that prasad. Then how you take something which was offered as prasad to Lord Ganesh at Siddhivinayak and now you are taking it. So someday we need to start a campaign that, okay, if you want to give the money to somebody, give it, but take a undertaking, take an affidavit from him that he is a devotee of Lord Ganesha and he will serve Lord Ganesha and its temple someday whenever need arises. So unless we take up such kind of campaigns, this loot by the government and the politicians will not stop. This is first. Then yes, ask
Yeah.
something.
So Virendra ji, see, why is such a big issue? This is such a hot topic. Why is it not covered in mainstream media?
I'll just give you an example. It was 2013, and we exposed some corruptions in the government-controlled temple in Pandharpur, Vitthal Temple. So it's one of the main temples in Maharashtra, like the position it occupies Tirupati Tirumala Temple in Andhra or Sabrimala Temple in Kerala. It's on the similar lines.
Yeah.
And I went on a channel for a debate and see what happens. There was an issue that the temple had in 1970s, 60s, 1,200 acres of land, and none of you see 1,200 acres of land, and it was 2013, and the record said not a foot of possession is with the temple, and not 1 rupee of income is coming from that 1,200 acres of land. So I was about to say this on air. Then in between, in the advertisement section, the anchor asks me, "Oh, this temple has such a big land, and then it must be the second in line with after that Padmanath temple. This must be the richest temple in Maharashtra." Then I asked him. I said, "You ask this question me on air. I'll answer you." Okay, he said. Then he asked this question to me, and then I replied, "See, boss, we are a Hindu majority state, and therefore a Hindu majority state, a temple where Hindus are coming, 500 acres, 1,200 acres is a okay. You may say this is a big land and all that. Then let me ask you one thing: the Maharashtra Waqf Board owns 92,000 acres of land.
Yeah.
So what do you say now? Do we need to give the Sachar committee recommendations and all those facilities and all those things to them? Then that is a question you may answer and the people may answer. So mainstream media, sorry, why did you ask this to me? This is something. There is hypocritic. You see, they don't want to go into those troubles. This is happening.
Yeah. So if churches and mosques, are not under the government control, why only temples?
There are 5 reasons to this. The first and foremost, and maybe the root cause of all these things, is we need to have a awakening. See, it's my conviction, because I am also fighting in some Hindu terror cases. I'm fighting in love jihad matters, and all ever what I can see is though we are big in numbers, we are a majority in numbers. In fact, the Hindus are just Hindus by birth.
Yeah.
So the actual Hindus, Hindus by deed, karma Hindus, what we say, we are a minority. We are a minority, and therefore nobody is bothered. They are saying is what why should we go into that? And unless we start agitations on these issues, we start asking questions on these issues. We start asking questions on these issues. This may not stop. And therefore, what we have been doing in the last 5 6 years, no, instead of going under Article 26 or 25 of the Constitution, we are just straight away using RTI, which is a easy tool, and we are taking out information, we are taking out to the people, we are taking out to the courts, we are filing petitions, we are filing criminal complaints, and we are saying, boss will not let you go. A person sitting in the temple, a person appointed as a trustee, or a person who wants to control the temple, let them know that somebody is watching you, and in case you get caught, you will be punished. You are going to lose your career. Unless that happens, this will not end. Secondly, the existing structure, you go through any law, let it be Andhra Pradesh Temple Act or Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, there is no, in a way, there is no system of punishment. If suppose under Indian Penal Code, there are certain provisions, like if I manipulate some amount, or I commit a fraud, if it is a person upon whom there was a confidence placed, the punishment is more. It's called criminal breach of trust, because I trusted you, because I was supposed to be under your supervision or your control, and if you cheat me, then it is taken as a higher offense, you see. That way, there is no provision, and no government is interested to make such provision, that if there is anything where that which relates to the temples, because they are sensitive and they are very close to the heart of the people, there will be stricter punishment. There will be stricter. There will be evidences. If point out something, there will be harsher punishment. There is no such provision in any law. Second, thirdly, the government officers in Maharashtra, there are many places, judges, session court judges, district judges are monitoring the activities of the temples. In many places, in Karnataka or in the southern states, I think they call it deputy commissioner. The district magistrate in Maharashtra, they call it collector, the revenue head of the district. He is entrusted with the management of the temples, and under his department there is some 2 3 people looking after all those things. The question is whether these people are trained as to how to look after these temples. No, they know how to read the land records, they know how to assess the land tax or agricultural tax or all those things, but nowhere there is a training. And most important of these things, you see, in the masjid, you get the training as to how to pray, how to offer namaz, how to read Quran, what is there in all those things. In church, there is equivalent and similar training on the Christian activities. But in Maharashtra, in temples, whether we are falling short, that's a question we ask to ourselves also. That originally temples are not social service centers. Temples are the energy centers of Hindu society. Temples are are the places where a person needs to go and in a way charge himself. He needs to get himself trained, advice on some issues, and if necessary, monetary help and such whatever help, including legal help.
Hmm.
That should be a center for Hindu society. And
Yeah.
since we were under Islamic invasion and all those things, as of now or last 50 years, temples have lost their place in society. And after this governmentization or for some other reasons, the sleepiness of the Hindus, whatever we can call it, temples are not trying to regain that position in society. And unless that happens, maybe we'll have to fight for a longer time.
Yeah. Here, Virendra ji, I'll just ask you one question, which I think many
Yes,
of us are asking, and that is,
yes.
see, what happened to the aggressive Hindu? You know, earlier they were known as Kshatriyas, they used to fight wars and they used to protect their lands. What happened to this Hindu? Has his gene changed? Has some DNA, there's some mistake in his DNA now? What is happening? Why are we seen as spineless people who cannot even protect our customs, our traditions, and our culture?
the answer, this is very important question, and the answer is multifolded. I think first is the way we are imparted education. That you see the NCRT books or even the state books, they will not project the bright side of the Hinduism or the Hindu history. They will just keep on saying the other things. And unfortunately, the theory which was put forth by Ambedkar when the division, the process of division started, I think he was right on the other side that there must be a Pakistan because these two are different state in itself, Hindus and Muslims, or rather Muslims will it's a better thing. That was his theory that he wrote the thoughts on Pakistan. But the other side that India, Hindustan or Bharat was not a nation in itself. From that on, we are in the crisis of identity. We are trying to see who we are, what is going on, and in the process, you see the communists how their divisive agenda starts. They will start when Diwali comes. They will start saying that yes, you see, it causes pollution. When Ganesh festival comes, they will say that immersion of Ganesh idol in the water. They will say it causes pollution, and conveniently they will not talk on the other issues. And then we as Hindu, you go at any place, whether it's India or any other place, we never want to dominate others. We never want to be attackers. We have so far, unfortunately, so as to say, we have been defending ourselves. So it's an attack first, and then we will try to defend ourselves. And our victory is measured as to how we defended successfully yourself. That's our definition of victory as far as our history we can see. So we see, no, no, we should not make suffer somebody, and that mentality is exploited by these communists, by these Christians, by these Muslims. They will constantly make you think that you are erring somewhere, you are making a mistake somewhere, your religion is on a lower pedestal, and all those things. And that we need to change from inside and from outside. Therefore, it's a both way process. We need to understand the values of our dharma, the importance of our dharma, and along with that, on a larger picture, we need to fight, put on the fight. We need to come together and fight.
Yeah. Virendraji, see, sources said that there are over 15 state governments which control only Hindu religious institutions, especially temples,
Yes.
right from the
Yes.
appointment of administrators to mandatory collection of 13 to 18% service charge. This takes
Yes.
away the community's right and resources to protect its interest. This,
Yes.
according to them, is discriminatory as only Hindu community suffers from this kind of treatment. It violates the
Yes.
concept of secularism. Also, the Indian constitution does not permit the state to run religious institutions.
Yes. Yes. See, the situation is like this. The constitution offered everything to the so-called minorities.
Yeah.
And the constitution maker said, no, no, we Hindus will be secure. So the responsibility of being secular is burdened upon the shoulders of Hindus. The responsibility of being patriotic is burdened on the shoulders of Hindus. We Hindus, a day has come that someday, maybe after 50 years, we might have to say that no, this is not our country. We may have to complain to some international forum. The day is not far. What we are in a jam, and like a convent starts, like there is a modernization of madrasas where large sums of money are pumped from the taxpayers wallet, and that is because of the Sachar committee. But for Hindus there is a bar. No, you cannot provide education, you have to stick to secularism. So and second, lastly, this constitution what we are talking of, Hindus have a feeling that constitution is the last word. There cannot be anything further. No, I'm sorry. Constitution has already been amended more than 100 times. It can further be amended. We need to put up a fight to amend it to our needs, to the place where we need to take it, and that can be done. That is not impossible.
Yeah.
That's absolutely not impossible. Yes.
Is it? I mean, it's not possible to change the constitution.
Yes, obviously it can be changed. See, there are two different issues on the matter. The Supreme Court judgment in Keshwananda Bharti's case, what it said is basic structure you cannot change. You can make some cosmetic changes, some changes, but basic structure of the constitution you cannot change. And that was the need of the hour because Those days, Indira Gandhi wanted to change everything to her needs. In fact, it went on to replace the judges in Supreme Court to her liking and all those things. So, but then what is basic structure is for the Supreme Court to decide. Tomorrow, if Supreme Court decides that yes, Hindus also need to be given this right, then it goes like that only, because in many states Hindus are a minority now. In fact, we have to go to Supreme Court to file the petitions and say this court should declare that Hindus are the minorities in those states. And
Yes,
see,
yes.
in a partial, in a phased manner, if you look at this situation, suppose we get that right in some states that yes, we are a minority, then automatically what happens? At least in those states, minorities can start their own educational centers
Yeah.
with their religion inculcated into it. So that can be a partial victory. Of course, this is fighting in our own lands.
Yeah.
Actually, the war should be fought on the enemy's land. That's the fundamental way of, or the rule of a war. So okay, let's skip it aside. Secondly, if a constitutional amendment is put in the parliament, you see how what happened with 370. All of a sudden, one fine day, 370, which were people thinking it may not go, it was scrapped all of a sudden. So that can happen. That can obviously happen. Thirdly, the word secularism has come into the constitution. It was not by the constitution makers. It was not by Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar or Nehru or the constitutional the committees which were formed in 1946, 47, 48. No, it was put in the period of emergency by Indira Gandhi. So if something is pushed into, it can always be taken out. It can always be taken. And let me
Please. No, please continue.
Let me give you a picture of the other things. You rightly pointed out that the churches or the mosques are not controlled by the government. Now, what is the scheme? Central government came with an act called the Waqf Act in 1995, and this Waqf board, in the whole country, this Waqf board owns properties, that's land, of valuing 1.20 lakh crores. 1.20 lakh crores is more than 6 lakh acres. More than 6 lakh acres for a minority, which is maximum 15 crores as of now in India. So if we see that if this land, if properly maintained or operated, let it be their land, let them operate. We will not stake our claims. If there are encroachment, let them be whatever. Let it be. If they maintain it properly, it can earn at least 10% of return from that property is whatever they will try to develop on it. So that makes it 12,000 crores of income for that minority. Now the question is, 2000. This is a constitutional. This is a parliamentary report of 2015, which I'm quoting the figures from a parliamentary report. It's not some my own anticipation or calculation. No, it's from the government records. If that 12,000 crores are coming to the pockets of these minorities, and such a committee was for all minorities, including Jains, Sikhs, Buddhists, and Muslims. This is only for Muslims. Let me say this is only for Muslims. Then such a committee recommendations 2016-17, they spent 7,000 crores for education, only for minorities, including all minorities. So this money is sufficient for them. So why taxpayers should pay? But the fact remains that many of these Waqf institutions, Waqf boards are paid by the government. So that money is taken over from the temples and paid for the Waqf boards. And there are Waqf tribunals, which Waqf tribunals are presided over by the judges who should know Urdu. That's the conditions. So obviously, this is for Muslims, by Muslims, to Muslims. And the Waqf board is appointed. You see, a temple, the trustees of a temple are appointed by the government. Okay, at many places it may be the case. They are appointed on the basis of their affiliation to the party, their work for the party, and maybe how many votes he can bring, how much
Yeah,
money he
yeah.
can bring, and such other conditions. But for appointment to the Waqf board,
Mm.
it can be voted by Muslims and for Muslims. Only the Muslim MLAs can vote.
Yeah.
So for a temple, a Muslim MLA can decide, he should be the trustee because he is a MLA. But
Yeah.
for work board appointment, it must be a Muslim MLA. So that is kind of a discrimination set
Very,
in
yeah.
there,
Here,
and we don't know.
here, yeah, here, Virendraji, see, I'll just ask you one thing. See, those
Yes,
advocating for equality say that the process of taking control of temple riches was started by the Mughals and was followed by the British rulers. You know, so is that how it all came into being?
that's the funny way to put it because you see, if there was a sultan, obviously the sultan was supposed to look after the whole kingdom, and in
Yeah,
the whole kingdom there were temples. So,
yeah,
it cannot be a case that
mm,
the sultan was eager and ready. Sir,
mm,
I want to be in your temple. I want to maintain your temple. No, that was
yeah,
not the case. By
yeah,
virtue of it being in his kingdom, he was looking after it. The question
yeah.
comes: what we are doing after the independence?
Yes,
The
exactly.
question comes there. Huh?
Yeah,
Otherwise, we are just
uh,
following what the sultan was doing. We
yeah.
are just following what the sultan was doing.
Sunil Khanna is asking, why can't all the
Yes.
Pandits close all the temples and tell the government that until the temples go out of the government hands, no Pandits should go and temples must remain closed?
The pathetic condition here, my brother, is the work board which I mentioned about has the provisions for salary to be paid to the imams by the
Mm,
government if the work board does not have money. And it
yeah,
has reached up to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has said, no, you must pay the imams. That's the one side. And the second side, like the states, like the southern states, they have categorized A class, B class, C class temples. Now, the C class temples, at many places, there is a situation that the temple, this Pandit or the pujaris or the worshippers are not even properly paid,
yeah,
able to survive on those things. So this is a way where they are gradually, maybe they are shifting away from their family profession or tradition of worshipping the temples. So they are already divided. First, secondly, the agenda, the way in which the temples are taken by the government, the classic action will be, or the traditional action will be, the government will say the temple trustees or and the pujaris and these pandits are not maintaining it properly, therefore we need to take it.
mm,
So they will blame them first. If you want to shoot a dog, call him mad and then shoot him. So that's the way they are doing it. So as of now, these pandits are not united. We need to make them united. We need to stand with them. Then only this kind of things can start.
mm. Yeah, Ned is asking, yes, we should ask government to get out of the temple affairs, but do you have plans who will run it without looting it?
Yes, that's a very nice question. See, like I earlier said, we have to cleanse the system from within and from outside. So therefore, we need to educate ourselves about the principles of dharma. We need to create the activists who will take up such issues, who will stand up and who will say, no, I will not take a single rupee from the temple money. And wherever, whatever resources I have, I will survive on those. Rather, I will sacrifice those for the temple activities or the temple benefits. So unless we come to that ideal situation, these things one way or the other, this will keep on happening. But
Mm,
that does not mean that the present situation should go on. So this is both ways.
yeah.
This is both ways we have to take it up.
Okay. Another question, Virendraji. See, we are now a BJP government. Okay. So
Yes,
which
yes,
means that see Hindus should be first and foremost in front.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
But if you look at certain situations, for example, what's happening in Bangladesh or what's happening in West Bengal, where our temples are being desecrated and people are being burnt, Hindus are being thrown out of their villages, and why does not India have the courage to throw all the Bangladeshis out into their country when such things are done to our temples, because temples are
Yes.
ultimate. We cannot say that you can destroy it and we keep quiet about it. Why can't our
Yes.
country and our leader take an iron hand and say that Bangladesh, if you do this, we are kicking out all your people? Why can't we do that?
Yes. This again a difficult question to answer, and at the same time, this is a direct question. Is hitting on the bullseye. See, there are two, three various angles to this. First is, though this government has done so many things, including Kashmir, including Ayodhya, Ram Mandir, including
Yeah.
triple talaq, including all these things, I can understand the pressure is mounting on the government. I'll just give you an example. Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 1973, which was revamped in 2010, is an act which controls the funding, foreign funding to the NGOs. So, if an NGO is taking some donation, it has to go through this act. It's not about commercial activities; it's necessarily about the NGOs.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, 2016, the government scrapped 13,000 NGOs licenses to get foreign fund.
Yeah.
The government is, because that's the fund which come to the Muslim NGOs, to the Christian NGOs, to the convents, to the churches. That's the very fund, and the figures are astonishing. We as our members of Hindu Vidya Parishad took efforts and found out how much amount is coming inside India. You know the figures. 2015 to 2019, 4 years, the amount is 59,500 crore. 59,500 crores. And where is the development arising out of it? There is absolutely no development, there is no control. Then what happens is, the government, some 6 months back, it comes under Home Ministry, as Amit Shah ji, it comes under that department. They made some strict regulations, not too strict, some strict. They said all funding should come to Delhi branch first, then you take it. They said all NGO directors, trustees should give their PAN cards, Aadhaar cards as identification. Who are the persons, Baba, who are controlling these things? Now, this is not something too harsh or too strong. This is just a procedural thing. What happens is, the Human Rights Commissioner for the United Nations says that India is throttling the voices of the NGOs. They are making it difficult. You see the reaction. Such a slight change, and it's a reaction from direct from UN. So this is one angle to all those things. But secondly, we cannot expect the government to do all such things for two reasons. First is, we presume that there is such pressures. Secondly, for West Bengal, for Karnataka, for Maharashtra, for all such states, I presume that all persons are not from originally BJPites. They are from Congress, they are from some other parties. That may be the need of the hour, some political calculations that may be there. But what is happening is, in the process, some such things remain. They remain outside, and therefore our job is not over. I had written an article when first time Modi government came to power. I said, this is the best thing to have happened in this century, but this does not make our job over. We need to be more vigil, more strong. We need to create a Hindu pressure group to see that those things for which voted them to power are happening. That continues even now. I'll give you two examples. What happened in Uttarakhand? Uttarakhand BJP government took control of this temple. They governmentized the temple in Uttarakhand. So Subramanian Swamy has filed some petitions on that issue. Maharashtra, the BJP governmentized the Shani Shingnapur temple, and at the same, when the Sabrimala crisis was going on, this temple was taken under government control. So all things we cannot presume. Nevertheless, they are doing, but then we have to rise and stand up and keep on saying that this must be happening. This has to happen, not only for Bangladesh, for Pakistan, and for India internally. This Hindu pressure group, we cannot afford to isolate, or we cannot afford to go away from that. We have to fight.
Yeah. Ned is asking, Vaishali, RSS is not a religious organization. They are nationalists and want the culture to be retained. They are really not bothered about temples, unlike VHP. So it's more of a statement, as in RSS is not connected with the. Here, I want to ask you another question, Vinodji. See, interestingly, the Supreme Court, in at least 3 landmark judgments, has asked the state governments to hand over religious institutions to the community. However, this has not
Yes.
happened till now. At present, there are two petitions pending before the Supreme Court in this regard. Why is this happening?
You see, there is a saturation of attitudes or
Yeah.
the thought processes or the protection of one's images that I am
Yes.
not a Hindutwadi, I am a secular person, and all those things. I'll just give
Yeah.
you an example.
Hmm.
The Supreme Court was continuously hearing about
Hmm.
the so-called malpractices happening in Jagannath Puri temple.
Hmm.
At the same time, it was
Hmm.
not taking up other cases. Supreme Court said for Ujjain's Mahakaleshwar Mandir, what should be the water that should be poured on the pindi, Abhishek.
Yeah.
But Supreme Court is not hearing these petitions filed by Ashwini Upadhyay ji calling for the calling Hindus, giving Hindus as a status of minorities.
Hmm.
So Supreme Court has this kind of maybe things in their
Selective.
mindset, and it's not
Yeah.
yes, and it's not only in Supreme Courts. I'll just give you an example of Karnataka High Court recently.
Hmm.
Karnataka Act, which was passed in somewhere, which came into existence somewhere in 2007 and implemented since then, has a beautiful provision. The provision says all Hindu, this Muzrai department, they call the Muzrai department, will be the officers, the staff will be only Hindus.
Hmm.
And what happens is the government, the last government, appointed some non-Hindus in the temple staff, in the Muzrai staff, government staff. Obviously, the petitions were filed asking the government to remove or transfer these persons out of Muzrai department and place to some other department. The Chief Justice of Karnataka, Justice Abhay, the division bench presided over them, has passed an order that provision does not mean that in the furtherance of the religious activities it has some other meaning. Now, when the act is very clear, he should not have interpreted in some other way. We are fighting the battle. We have filed writ appeal and we will be taking it to Supreme Court. But that shows about the attitude.
Yeah.
This is all everywhere. This attitude you will find every place, and we need to change this attitude from the bottom to top.
Another question I wanted to ask you, Virendraji, with regards to temple, what was this, sudden, attack on our temples by women who wanted to go into temples where women are allowed only after a certain stage in life? Okay, why was the need for these women to show that their equality by defying our traditions and our culture and whatever we've been following? When the modern Indian women don't have a problem with these rules, why did these women want to desecrate our temples, as in Shabrimala, and Shani temple?
Yes. We see this is exactly the kind of intellectual terrorism to which we are becoming victims, and we are not understanding it. My sincere appeal to all who are watching today that let us find out these various kinds of intellectual terrorism. See what happens. I earlier gave two examples about Ganesh Visarjan, immersion of
Yeah.
Ganesh Murti in the water. They will say, "Oh, it's pollution." Diwali firecrackers, "Oh, it's pollution." So you are polluting the state. You are disturbing it. So they will take it in a manner. Either it is about environment or some human rights, and they will try to portray Hindu
Yeah.
ethics or Hindu way of living as something anti-social, anti-depressing women rights and all that. And this is the way in a phase of say 50, 80, 100 years, Hindus will not believe in their own Hindu values. They will say, no, our own Hinduism is wrong and all those things. So this is step by step they want to progress in that line. And therefore we need to understand those. I'll just give an example. A way out is not directly connected to Hinduism or the temples, I'm sorry. You see, last 6-7 years there is much hue and cry on the murders of four peoples in the nation is Dr. Narendra Dabholkar or Gauri Lankesh and all that. There were 65 or 70 award wapasi that took place on that, and much hue and cry is raised. Let us presume any murder is bad. We are not justifying any such thing, but let us presume for the sake of arguments that these
Yeah.
murders were communist or these were socialist. and they murdered by some Hindu thinkers. Let us presume, I'm just repeating, let us presume an atmosphere is made that after Gandhi there was all peace, and thereafter 2013 it was Dabolkar, and there was a series of four murders. And see what kind of country we are living in. Some actor says, I'm afraid of staying in the country, and to that extent they will go.
Yeah.
I'm asking a question to all the viewers today. Kindly think for a while. Kindly think for a while. You must have seen all those what I just narrated. The communists have killed in India more than 14,000 people. They were tribals, they were police, they were SRPF, they were leaders, they were corporators, they were MLAs, they are ministers. Whether we know the figure, we just have been an habit to look at the news. Maoists have killed so and so, Naxalists have killed so and so, and we just turn the leaf of the page of the newspaper and we'll read the other news. Now, who are Maoists? Who are Naxalites? They are basically communists. But communists have played it so safely in India that communists have been successful in portraying that communists are different, Naxalites are different. You see, that kind of intellectual terrorism we are victim to. If we look at the things from this perspective, we step by step we will conquer. My request to all people, I'll give an example, just an example. My senior colleague, my friend who happened to be a judge had given. He said a communist will tell a Hindu devotee that, oh, you are a Hindu devotee and I am a communist. Let us have a discussion. Let us think. Let us discuss, because we'll share some thoughts. And the communist will start. You tell me, my friend. He will be very polite. He will be very silent, and he will say, "You tell me, my friend. Why in your Hindu scriptures Krishna has 16,000 wives? Is it immoral to have 16,000 wives? How you can defend it?" And the Hindu friend will try 10 100 ways to defend it, but ultimately he is defending it. You see, then, and after this is over, then he is asked, you see, my friend, how this happens that Rama, after all those things, just simply because some dhobi was saying something, abandoned Sita, is it moral? A husband should protect his wife. Why is this? He was a king. Why did he do that? Then again, that Hindu falls in that trap and he starts justifying. Oh, in such situation, you ask him the question, oh, let us discuss all those things, because it may have happened 5,000 years, or neither you nor me know what happened those years back. Let us say the communism which wanted to go to Mars and moon, he wanted to expand to that fast and all those things, collapsed in Russia. Why China abandoned the core model which Karl Marx said? Why? Can you explain me first why Stalin's statues were demolished in Russia? Can you explain me first? Now he comes in trouble, and then someday he runs away.
Yeah.
So you see, I took some long to answer the question,
understood.
but
Yeah.
but unless we fight it back this way, maybe we are in a jam. That's what I wanted to say. Yes.
Sridhar Kamble is asking, I feel this is one of the loopholes which these corrupt politicians are misusing. I'd like to know, do we have an option to file an PIL which could address such an important topic?
Yes, that's the best question of the day, because it goes on the action mode. Instead of contemplation mode, it goes on action mode. My friend, you can extensively use RTI. You can file complaints, and let me tell you 2 3 things. Unless we make these politicians and the corrupt government officials, unless we make them and their family members feel ashamed in the society, they will not run away. They have very less of shame, I know, but unless we take it to that extent, unless we keep on showing the wrong deeds, the misdeeds of these people, Article 25, Article 26 may not help us in any way. I'll just give you an example. The other way, why I am saying this is a matter of action, but from what principles this action is bringing allowed, I'll just give an example. All these 15 states and other places, temples are under government control. Now, government is supposed to maintain it properly. That's the presumption we are having. Now, let us take an example of the public companies owned by the central government, owned by the state government. Central government, BSNL is not working. In fact, it's government which is selling the 2G, the spectrums, 4G spectrums to Airtel, Reliance, and all those companies. They are expanding. BSNL is crunching. Yeah, India, central government is selling Air India. All we know, and in every state, the state government also owns this such kind of corporations, public companies, and they are in a dilapidated conditions. In fact, the returns on the investment made by the government on such properties is 0.01%. I pardon. I invest 100 rupees in a company, and in return, what I get is 1 paisa. So that is the situation of these companies. So we can presume the the affairs or the institutions which are managed by the government are failing. That's the stark situation we are observing last 15, 20, 30 years, regardless of which party came to power. This is a regular downgrading trend. Let us ask a question: if the government does not have the ability, expertise to run the financial corporations, the agricultural corporations, the business corporation, how in first place they claim themselves to deserve to run a religious institution? First. Secondly, it's a common thing that we employ somebody. If he works good, we promote him, we give him better salary, or we throw him out. Or the government will also do the same thing. If there is a government servant who is not doing well, they will either demote him, they will transfer him, or they will suspend him. Some such thing happens. Now, this is not happening with the government controlling the or managing the temples. We need to ask the government how you are fit to do this. And this is administrative law. So far, my request to the viewers: this line we need to take to the courts. This line we need to take to the people, because the Nataraj temple or the Padmanabh temple or other temples which you might be referring to, which the Supreme Court said you give it back to the devotees or the specific denomination or the cult which was monitoring it. That is from a different perspective. This I am putting is a completely different perspective, that government has failed, and if it is failing, why they should continue? That's the other side. And the PLs which my friend asked, this line we need to take up in a better manner.
Yeah. Also, it's connected, though not connecting exactly with the topic. If you would have noticed, Virendraji, see, since we are journalists, I mean, we think in another way as well. See, when these OTT platforms started, the intention was to malign Hindus. And the movies that were made were all to attack, our temples, our deities, and also our what you call customs, and also the fabric of our Hindu society, which means, making it immoral, showing weird kind of relationships, trying to spoil our younger generation by telling them that, see, anything is okay, by way of whether it's drugs or sex or whatever it is. So if you, for example, just go to Netflix and just, put a search, you want to search for a film, okay? When you just search, you will see that all the films that are shown are all sex related. Okay, and all these movies are either, some of them are by sex, like Ekta Kapoor's films, which are all about gay people or about husbands cheating women, their wives. So everything to break the fabric of Hindu society is happening. So this is also, as you say, an agenda. Because our government is so slow to act. We have an INB, minister who takes so long to act, and by the time he acts, so many films have already come and corrupted so many people. So all this makes the public very angry.
Yes. So you want me to say something on the action part or on the theory part?
Yes. Yeah, both. You can speak about both.
See, the irony of the thing is, Amazon, which owns that Prime, which started initially so with many things, it's a brand leader, so as to say.
Yeah.
Now Amazon owns Prime. That's the Prime is the OTT platform. Amazon is the parent company.
Yes.
Now Amazon makes agreements with the central government, with Haryana government, with Karnataka government for sale of something, this thing, that thing, and networking and all those things. So these kind of commercial enterprises, no, we have to hit them not on the face. See what will happen. Tomorrow I come make a complaint. I go to the High Court. The High Court says, see, there is a censor board. Then I say, my lords, the censor board is not controlling these OTT platforms because the Cinematograph Act, which is maybe so old that it should be thrown in the dustbin.
That's it.
They are still going on with it.
Yeah.
Then court will say, see, we can go only by the letter of law, we cannot do anything. Then my money, my energy, my emotions all get shattered. Instead, the thing that we should do is three fourfold. I understand it's a difficult proposition to put before you we all, but we have an example, which was the film which came in 2 episodes, Bahubali.
Yeah.
Bahubali. Bahubali had no sex content. Bahubali was
Yeah.
typically or traditional Hindu culture and
Yeah.
all those
Yes.
things. And Bahubali became
Yeah.
one of the biggest grossers, all both episodes.
Yeah.
So
Super.
is in a way is drawing the bigger line instead of just keeping on complaining on the smaller line. Is drawing the
Yeah.
bigger line, and
Yeah.
let there be some directors. If there are somebody here, let them contact me. There can be at least a declaration of movie based on the exploitations of women in a particular region. Let them at
Yeah.
least declare it. I'm saying, see, my proposition is this: whether to make a movie or not make a movie is one thing. Let it be declared. Let it be declared that there will be a movie on how Shivaji Maharaj killed, butchered Shivaji Afzal Khan. How Aurangzeb was a rogue king. At least there, if you see, if this way starts, no, this is the way to counter it. But not everybody can do it. I understand. Not everybody
Yeah.
can do
See,
it. The
I'll tell you.
third thing
Yeah.
is, ah,
Yeah. Please. Yeah.
the third
Please.
thing is there should be complaints made against the specific portion of some movie
Yeah.
by using the laws, by using the local advocates. Hindu Vidya Parishad, I will not claim we are a loosely connected movement. We are not an organization in its strict sense. We are loosely connected people, advocates across all district court, high court, supreme court, everywhere. We are that kind of a body. We will help you in that. First, second is this way you get a beautiful help. I'll give you an example. What happened with this Islamic Research Foundation? That was there's the person who was I'm unable to recollect his name right now. Islamic Research Foundation was owned by that fellow, and he's declared as terrorist. He is offender as of now. He's staying in other countries. He said on the eve of Ganeshotsav, he had a Facebook post. Zakir Naik, his name was Zakir Naik. He said,
Zakir Naik. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Zakir Naik. He posted on his Facebook saying that you prove me that Ganpati is a god, then I will eat his prasad. You prove me that Ganesh is a god, then I will eat his prasad. Now comes the next thing. More than 30 places FIR is registered against him. After FIRs are registered, he runs pillar to post for getting bail, for quashing the petitions in high courts and supreme courts, and he gets scared that someday he will be arrested by the police. He leaves the country and never comes back. So seems not a big number of people, 30% did it across the nation. Some places he just went to police station. They said that, see boss, this is the post I saw on Facebook, and this has hurt my religious emotions. Section 295A of Indian Penal Code. Now the funny thing is, your religious emotions are within your mind and your heart. So there is no test, no X-ray, no CT scan which shows the quantum of damage to your religious emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that am I audible? No, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see you. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Only your voice is not clear.
So you wanted to say something?
Yeah. Yeah. So what I want to say
Is it clear now?
yeah. I'll just, yeah, it's clear.
Yes.
See, what I want to say is, see, for example, I'm also a filmmaker. Okay. So I made a film on
Okay. Okay.
A Padma Shri legend of Kathakali. Kathakali is the most famous dance in Kerala, oldest dance.
Great.
Now,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
and he's got a Padma Shri. And once the documentary was out, we received the Kerala State Award and we received many other awards. Okay. Now, I presented
Yes.
this movie
Yes.
to Netflix and to Hotstar.
Oh,
I said, would you like to show it to
yes.
your viewers? And they said, their viewers are not interested in this kind of stuff. Okay. And if you look at the kind
Yes.
of films that are coming in these mediums, on top you have like a subtitle saying drugs, okay, sex,
Yes. Yes.
bad language,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
violence. Huh? So all that is okay for Indian society, but the story of a man who struggled, to make his dance so successful and to promote a dance that is one of the most ancient dances of Kerala is not good for them. That is not good for them. So the kind of message these people, the OTT platforms are giving is that they only want the kind of films that are created by Balaji Films or by Karan Johars, who changed the complete historical fact. For example, in Gunjan Saxena, they changed everything. They made the film to show that, see, in Air Force they don't respect women. You see, so
Right.
everything, just like Love Jihad, Virendraji, see, this is also a very targeted attack on
Right.
our culture to make our youngsters feel that, see, certain things are not important. Whatever the
Right.
grandparents and parents are teaching the children, do this, don't do this. It's all being reversed by these kind of platforms, and our INB minister takes it very, very lightly. And that is what upsets the audience.
You are absolutely right. In fact, these OTT platforms are not at all governed. And why to that extent? I will take you
Yeah,
a step further.
yeah,
Even Facebook, they call themselves as intermediaries,
yeah,
but they control it. They will
yeah,
cut off Raja Singh Thakur, the MLA from Andhra Pradesh. One
yeah,
day they abruptly shut down his Facebook account. They
yeah,
shut down Sanatan Sanstha's Facebook account. At
yeah,
the same time, there is a Facebook account from Bangalore or somewhere which is in the memory of Gauri Lankesh
yeah,
or in that line.
yeah,
So that account was also closed in the same moment, in the same action. And when they realized, oh, this account is also been closed, they not only started it, they apologized for the closure. You
yeah,
see, to that extent they are going. But then the other way out is, why don't you declare? Why don't you say, just hold a press conference and say that after 2 months you will be making a film on the how the sister Abhaya murder case went on, what happened in Sister Abhaya murder case and how the trial is still going on. It happened somewhere in 1993, 94, I guess, and
yeah,
2021 is still in the courts.
yeah,
Let them get disturbed if that
yeah,
happens. Let them. Now, this kind of OTT platform laws and the courts have to, you see. So, yeah, what I'm saying is, you don't pump your capital, you don't put money. At least declare it.
yeah.
What is happening is that's the battleground. Why I said is we are just defending this. No, let
You
us
know,
attack. Huh?
Virendra ji, if you look at, the case of Bishop Franco, huh? Bishop Franco,
Exactly. Not only that. Exactly.
yeah,
You must be remembering there was some book written by a nun, Amen. You
mm,
see, there is a ashram series going on, or part 2 and all those things. How they portrayed Ashram Bapuji's case.
yes, yes,
Let somebody stand up and say that I'm going to make a movie on Amen. I'm
yeah,
going to make a movie on sexual exploitation that is
yeah,
happening in the churches and which is published on Wikipedia.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Now let them get disturbed from in their beds, in their nights. Let them say, "अरे ये कैसे तो रोकना पड़ेगा. Let us do something to stop
yeah,
it."
yeah,
Let's see then. Now see, the other difficulty is if only you stand up or I stand up to say this, they have a easy individual target.
yeah,
But if 100 people stand out and say, "Boss, I'm going to do this. Boss, I'm going to make a film and put it on Facebook, on
yeah,
YouTube, 10 minutes movie,"
mm,
then they get where to stop it,
yeah,
and then they get their own medicine, their own
mm,
test.
mm,
Is that right?
yeah,
So this way, I
absolutely,
think we should look at the things as an
yeah,
advocate. You see, we
yeah,
need to fight in the courts. So that fighting strategy we need to employ at such places. That's what
Yeah.
I wanted to say.
Yeah. Thank you, Virendra ji. It's been a really good session, and I'm sure you'll join us for the coming sessions as well, where we can
Sure,
discuss
sure,
more
sure.
things, because this is
Sure.
only the tip of the iceberg. There's so many more
Yes.
things that we can discuss.
Yes.
Thank you from the viewers and from all of us for answering our questions and being so kind.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.